Anyway, let's move on to somebody else who isn't past their prime, but definitely can ask some questions. So I want to talk about Josh Allen for a minute. Oh boy. Okay. So Josh Allen to me is a quarterback that has been given the benefit of the doubt for a lot of last couple of seasons. And much like Lamar Jackson has not been able to get it done in the biggest spots. Not solely his fault, but I'm saying the Buffalo Bills not been able to get it done in the biggest spots. And coming out of this weekend, when, in my opinion, the Chiefs outplayed the Bills for especially the second half, the narrative was like, well, Josh Allen is close, but not really. And then nobody was talking about how Mahomes just stone cold came in there and won that football game because a couple of things happened that would have made that field goal at the end non-existent. And I'm talking about the fake punt that they had, and they got extremely lucky that the dumbest rule in the rule book came into play, the fumble out of the end zone, causing a touchback. And the Bills got the ball back because of that. They really should have probably lost that game by 10. But Stephon Diggs doesn't make a catch on a beautiful throw. And then Josh Allen misses 3 receivers running completely free at the end of the game. And this is the third year in a row now that the Bills have lost in horrific fashion to the Kansas City Chiefs or a team of that ilk. And are we at the point now where we can start questioning Josh Allen in these big time games because he keeps getting the benefit of the doubt and keeps coming up short?
Feels a lot like Colts Patriots from the early 2000s, doesn't it? Like just the Colts could never they could never get by the Patriots. And I remember that one the year they ended up winning the Super Bowl when they finally had home field advantage and they got the Patriots in the RCA Dome, it was at the time, and got that win. And that was a great game. But man, that was such a relief. It was like finally, like I mean, that almost felt that was the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? And to get over that hump.
Oh, for
But
sure.
yeah, so this was that, right? This was that for the Bills and Josh Allen. Okay, you've got the Chiefs at home now. Here's your chance.
This is the moment, right? Like this was
And
it.
and they failed. He failed. And yeah,
Epically.
those misses he had late were painful to watch.
Very. And I mean, okay, so the Diggs one, when you watch it over again on Diggs. The rest of them, though, not the receiver's fault. And this comes down to how they've built this team and the fact that unless you got Diggs, who's not a number one anymore, Gabe Davis, it wasn't there, and they had like nothing else. Josh Allen, to be fair, Josh Allen pretty much performed as well as he could outside of late in the fourth quarter. But I just think it's amazing how he's getting the benefit of the doubt why? Like, we don't give the benefit of the doubt to other guys. Peyton Manning didn't get the benefit of the doubt. Why the hell do we assume that Josh Allen is just going to figure it out and win this game? This year, this game was the moment for them. Everything was in their favor and they couldn't get it done. So what tells you that they're going to get it done next year or the year after? And there's a lot of questions in Buffalo, and I was mad because, damn it, that franchise and that fan base deserved to win that football game on Sunday, and they didn't, and it sucks.
They deserve it so bad. And then the fashion in which they lost or the fashion in which they missed overtime, with the wide right. I'm like, you've
Oh
got to be
my.
kidding me. I guess is just like just put them out of their misery at this point. I mean, it I was just like I was genuinely like heartbroken for the Bills fans in that situation.
Oh yeah. And
And
I mean, ghosts of Scott Norwood, and how many young fans even knew Scott Norwood existed? This is their wide right.
yeah, this is it, man. This is definitely it. And the thing is that was just to tie the damn thing, right? Like it wasn't even like that was just to have a chance to win it. Um and yeah, so many things though led up to that moment, like you said, with some of the misses, the fake punt. And it's like I understand 10 guys, let's take our shot at it here. But fake punts, fake field goals, all those things are always uh, viewed in hindsight every time. If they're successful, it was the best idea ever. If it fails, then it was the worst idea ever. Um, and so they had that and whatnot. But do feel terrible for the Bills fans. Jason Kelsey did steal the show a little bit, which I found highly entertaining.
Yes.
Um, that he had such a good time. And I saw an interview with his wife where she said that like his intention, like he wanted to just immerse himself in the Bills Mafia tailgating scene and the whole 9 yards, and that one of the top thing on his list is he wanted to go through a table. And I guess that never happened, much to his disappointment. But it looks like he still had a good time.
Well, he's retired now, so he can go to some Bills games next year and make it happen. But yes, I agree that the Jason Kelsey thing was funny because I think he was talking with Travis and his wife said, "Be on your best behavior. You're going to meet Taylor." And he's like, "What are you talking about? The first time I met you, I was blackout drunk, passed out at the bar. This is my best behavior." And I agree. That probably is his best behavior.
For sure, no doubt about it. I mean, I, I could. It, they seem so different. Like I'd have no interest in like hanging out with Travis Kelsey. I mean, it's just, but like I would hang out with Jason Kelsey in a heartbeat, man.
100% would I hang out with him. He seems like he'd be a fun guy. And honestly, he's going to make a lot of money in the off season when he's retired because that podcast is going to be fun. And who knows? But I want to do something for you and for the people watching and listening to prove a point. I'm going to bring back an old favorite. Iceman's stat of the week. Been a while since I have given a stat. We teased it a couple weeks ago. But man, I want to give you a stat here, and then I would like to hypothesize a point. So, do you recall the Chargers from 2006 2009? A very talented squad.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, in that 4-year time, I believe Norv Turner was their coach back then, and I think maybe even Marty Schottenheimer for 1 year. They were 46-18. Nothing to sneeze at. 4 division titles, 21 or 28.1 points per game, 19.6 opponents' points per game. They were 3-4 in the playoffs. They went to 1 AFC championship game and 4 divisional round appearances. The 2020 to 2023 Buffalo Bills, in that same time period, 48-18, 4 division titles, 28.6 points a game, giving up 19.1, 5-4 in the playoffs, 1 AFC championship game, and 4 divisional round appearances. Josh Allen is the new Phillip Rivers.
That's painful. Now I think that history looks back favorably on Phillip Rivers beyond, outside the fact that, he never got to the big game, obviously never won the big game, very good in the regular season. But the thing is, look at freaking Dan Marino, man. Like everybody loves Dan Marino. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, and he's regarded as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. I mean, I'm sure the stats at the time that he played had a lot to do with that. Now every quarterback's stats are off the charts just because of the way the game's played.
Yeah, it's hard to compare now.
For sure. Yeah, it absolutely is.
In that way, in like the 1-to-1 stat. Because, I mean, Troy Aikman has less career touchdown passes than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Nobody's going to say that Fitzpatrick is a better quarterback.
True. And
I don't think anyway.
Well, and back then, man, like they didn't protect the quarterback like they do now at all.
And he is very open about that. Like how many times he got hit with the crown of the helmet just up, and concussions. And he's even said, like, Troy Aikman is very honest about, I'm lucky that I'm able to do announcing, because he could have lost a lot of faculties from the way he got hit.
I believe it, man. But that's a good comparison, though. Josh Allen to Phillip Rivers, or that's probably more appropriate. I was gonna say you could even put like Peyton Manning in the equation, since we did the Colts Pats comparison. But I don't know if he's regarded in the same way that Peyton Manning was at the time that he was playing at a high level. But like you said, a lot of people tend to give him a pass a little bit.
Oh, they do. The hype is always super high at the offseason.
Yeah, compared to how they are towards some of these other quarterbacks like Lamar, who are on the same level, really.
Yeah, they are on the same level. And thing is, the older that Josh Allen gets, and he's young, right? He's still in his prime, but like the older that he gets, younger quarterbacks are going to come into the league. And theoretically, the league is going to be more saturated with younger talent. And it's not going to be a guarantee that they're going to be able to do what they do every year. And this year, he didn't have to deal with Joe Burrow, which could have to in years coming up. And what happens if Jim Harbaugh gets the Chargers rolling? Then all of a sudden, Justin Herbert's got some things going. If Doug Peterson can get the Jags rolling, Trevor Lawrence, like there's just a lot of talent in the AFC. And I don't understand why he keeps getting the benefit of the doubt, but we heap all of this negativity on these quarterbacks that don't win like 1 or 2 games. And it's like, well, they can't get it done. And yet Josh Allen just can't beat Mahomes. Like, it is what it is. And Peyton Manning had to carry that around for a long time until, as you said, finally beat him. But even so, he didn't beat Brady a lot. It didn't happen too
No.
often, only a couple of times in the biggest moments. And maybe that's Josh Allen's career path. Look, Phillip Rivers probably will be a Hall of Famer, right? He played with a lot of talent, but unfortunately never could win the biggest of games when they had to win them. And that's sometimes the career arc for a guy. And it stinks that it's for Buffalo, because when Josh Allen leaves, they may not get another chance at that, because only the Packers seem to get franchise quarterbacks one after another after another.
Yeah, and Buffalo knows all too well what it looks like after losing a franchise quarterback. Decade plus of futility and a revolving door at the quarterback position, post Jim Kelly. And so definitely interesting. And then, you referenced Jim Harbaugh, and I do think, and we can get into it here in a bit if you want to, but I think that I have every belief in the world that he's going to get the Chargers rolling.
Yes. And so let's talk coaching now, because I think first things first, and to address the question that we've received for those listening, we've received a question here in our chat about which conference is more difficult, the AFC or NFC. And I would say that differs every year, because obviously talent kind of rolls. I think this year the AFC was theoretically a lot more talented. There was a lot more talented teams for the most part, but I think a lot of those talented teams petered out towards the end of the year. And the NFC struck me as a little bit more top heavy. San Francisco, Dallas, maybe Philadelphia for a while, but pretty much after that, it was not a lot of teams that struck you as like they could be one of the best in the league. But in the
Gosh,
AFC,
I feel the opposite.
Do you really?
Yeah. I feel like the AFC is top heavy. Like that the top of the AFC is really good, and that the NFC is deeper.
I mean, there were a lot more teams in play, I guess, for the playoffs this year. But so, yeah, you might be right about that. But I guess when I think about like the Ravens, the Bills, the Dolphins technically were in that for a while. The Chiefs, I guess, yeah, you might be right. I mean, because I guess the Browns were obviously good, but I didn't see them as like,
Right.
oh my God, they can win everything. So,
But the fact that, like you mentioned, the fact that there were so many teams in the NFC still in the hunt late could also be an indication of how that there weren't enough really good teams. You
yeah,
know what I mean?